seat at the table with some men with confidence.
Welcome to Men in Confidence Sharing, where we, the men of a certain age, share our thoughts, ideas, and opinions in confidence. Today, we're joined by two members of the crew. We're joined by Terrence and Ryan. So let's say hello to everyone. Hello, Ryan.
It's good, everybody.
And hello, Terrence.
Greetings and salutations, people.
All right, thank you, fellas, for coming. So we have I would say a simple topic, but this is not a simple topic. What is the value of a woman or a wife?
Ooh.
Yeah, this could get deep.
Okay, Chinese arithmetic.
So let's start with this, because we have an ensemble today. Ensemble, not ensemble. Ensemble.
It's already getting complicated.
We got singles and married people in here. So let's start off with, do you see it valuable to have a wife? Potentially for Rhino, and of course in existence for the rest.
Okay, so I saw Rhino kind of smirk, so I'm gonna jump in here first before he goes, because I know he's contemplating. So, as a married person, the answer is absolutely yes. Definitely see value. And I don't mean that just because I'm like trying to placate or, fanboy for my wife who's probably going to listen to this. That's not what I'm doing here at all. As a man in general, just knowing that we weren't meant to be here alone. And we weren't meant to just kind of meander through this existence, aimlessly or not, on our own. To me, is like a grounding reason as to why a woman would have value. Someone to share in that journey. Someone to add perspective to your journey. Someone to call you out on your mess along that journey. Someone to celebrate your wins and provide comfort or, again, perspective through those learning experiences, through those down times. Someone who's going to see you at your worst and love you, and see you at your best and still love you. There's just, I don't know that you can really even quantify how valuable that is. That is just, there's definitely not a number you can put on it. Before we get too far down the rabbit hole, I'm sure people will want to try and put a dollar number on it, and that's kind of ridiculous in my mind too. It's just, there's no way to really just limit it to up on a scale of 1 to 10. It is limitless. Absolutely.
That sounds sweet and awesome. And I know that just came off as hugely sarcastic. And I apologize for that. But
no offense taken.
Right, I get it. I'm a Christian and I've read the Bible a time or two, and I know that God created Adam and he also realized that he had to create a companion for Adam, and he created Eve, and she was his helpmeet, and together as a team, aside from the curse that it put on humanity, they were a team, and they worked together, and they held each other up, and they comforted each other, and they went through this thing together. And like I was saying before the show started, I walked the line of desperately wanting to be married one day, and the next day, girls, stay away from me. I'm a loner. I'm celibate. Leave me alone. I don't got time for this. And it seems like I can't make up my mind. But I have I have this amalgam of things going on that I hold up as my box of reasons why I don't need to be married. And but I know there's a lot of reasons why I should be married. And there are a lot of reasons, just as many reasons for not being married. I know having companionship is necessary. We're social creatures. We are not really designed to be alone. We need each other as much as those of us who consider ourselves, what's the word for it? When you prefer to be alone as opposed to being around everybody else. I can't think of it.
Introverted.
Introverted. As much as those of us who consider ourselves introverted would like to believe that we're good by ourselves, we do enjoy the company of others. I have friends, obviously, I'm talking with two of them tonight. My roommates are also my friends as well. But there's something different about having a wife. And I'm not just talking about sex and whatnot. That's just a deeper level of knowing someone, intimacy. But to have that, to be melded to somebody like that is a wonderful thing, especially if they are, if they understand that, hey, look, we have to live this life together. There's going to be challenging times. There's going to be fun times. There's going to be great times. But we're together no matter what. It would be great to have that. But then there's the other days when I feel like Rick Sanchez, that that love is just a chemical reaction in my brain trying to get me to breed and repopulate the earth. But I don't know. While I figure out what I want to do, and no, this isn't find Ronald a date. This is just a Q&A on the advantages and disadvantages. Well, the value, I said advantages and disadvantages, the value of a woman. And that's what we're trying to nail down. What is the value of a woman? But with that question in mind, I often have to ask myself, what am I looking for in a woman? And I know there's the basic things, but I kind of feel like there's one major thing that I should be looking for, and I haven't quite figured that out yet. And I'm going to go ahead and shut up and pass it on to Tony.
Okay, so I'm going to circle back around to what you said. You said something interesting that I want to go back to. But, okay, so one of the reasons why, okay, so this is a topic that I kind of push for. So I'll go ahead and admit that. One of the reasons why I wanted to jump on this topic was because we just recently did What is the Value of a Man? And it seems like in 2022, no one can hammer down what is the value of a woman or why be married. Like, it seems like everyone wants to live the single life and wants to party, and I don't want to say that marriage is no fun or anything, but it seems like no one wants to quote unquote settle down. But I really do believe that there is value in being married. I believe that there is a certain thing that you can only get from having a wife. There's a certain amount of effort that you can only have as a man because you are trying to do for your wife and your family. If you don't have that, then it's a whole gear that you have internally that you don't access if you don't have a wife and family. You may think that you're working at full percent or you're operating at 100%. I promise you that you are not. You may be in fifth gear, you don't even realize that there's a sixth gear. But getting back to something Ronald said, he said something about he doesn't know what he values in a woman. It makes me want to ask that question. What do you value in a woman? Like, what makes a woman special, or what makes her different, or what sets her apart? And I'll throw that back out to the fellas.
So, what makes a woman valuable or special? What do I want? Well, first thing I'd like to say I want would be, I had it on the tip of my tongue and I can't think of the word. Selfless. That's the word I'm looking for. Selfless. So, it's hard to say selflessness in a person is like the top trait that you would want, but selflessness is important because in a relationship, we always talk about it being give and take. I think people prioritize the take a lot more than the give. So having a selfless person means that they're going to emphasize a little bit more of the give. And ideally, if you're both giving to each other, everybody's getting more of something that they need, something to fulfill and sustain them in a perfect environment. And that's not to say that every marriage or any marriage is perfect and you won't have any issues where sometimes one person is taking a little bit more than they're giving. But ideally you want to be able to reciprocate that give to each other thing to a point where no one feels burnt out. No one feels like they're contributing a lion's share of effort and getting minimal returns. So selflessness is definitely of importance. Another thing that came to my mind for me specifically was just a differing opinion. I tend to believe if you find yourself being the smartest in the room, it's time to change the room. But if my wife is in that room with me, I don't always feel like the smartest in the room because she has a differing opinion. She has a different insight, a different perspective on more times than not a lot of things. And it really causes me to take a step back and either question, why didn't I see that? Or, wow, that was completely out of left field. And that has really changed my perception, changed my perspective. It's given me something more, something deeper to think about that I just totally missed. And I usually appreciate those moments when it happens because it's, for me, insightful. I can spit out the generic answers most people talk about. Loyalty, man. My girl's got to be loyal. She's got to be loyal to me. But I hear that in other circles, and what I feel like that means in a lot of instances is I want somebody loyal to me to do what I say and be down for me while I do whatever I want without any regard. And that's not fair. So I try to stay away from those type of traditional generic answers and look for something a little bit more intuitive, something a little bit more I don't want to say profound, but something a little bit more personal, something a little bit more meaningful for me.
I get that. I personally, I just, now that I'm thinking about it, there is something that I value in women, and in the woman that I choose to be with. While that is a generic answer, loyalty, but it's an important answer. I'd like to think about it from the perspective that maybe that person that says that my girl has to be loyal to me has been with a girl who wasn't loyal to him, and he has experienced the fallout that comes with that. And now that he's with another girl, he values that look, you've got to be loyal to me. If you're not going to be loyal to me, let me know now so I can, kick rocks. And I would want a woman that's going to not only just be loyal to me, but first and foremost, she has to love me and respect me. She can't just love me. She has to love me and respect me. Because to me, those two things go hand in hand. And if she can't do that, then there's no need in us even talking. Why are we having this conversation? Because if she can't do that, she's definitely not going to do anything else. It's just not possible. She doesn't respect me. She doesn't love me. No. I've been in a relationship where I was told that I was loved, but I was not respected. And that lack of respect showed its face in a different way. And it was subtle at first, and then it became blatant. And then it became, what did I do? What exactly did I do? What exactly are you accusing me of? And I got no answer. And then when you asked that, my partner, she closed her mouth and didn't say anything. All right. So now she's not communicating, but she's blaming me for something. And I don't understand what it is. And me, in my mindset, I'm thinking, I gotta fix this. How can I fix this? And I try to communicate, but I'm getting a wall and I'm getting hatred. And eventually it was like, I don't have time for this. And now she blames me because I won't talk to her. I don't care. I gave you 8 years of my life and you hated me and you didn't respect me and you didn't love me, even though you say you did. I realize now that you really didn't. And what she said she wanted out from me wasn't what she really wanted. It was like, it's like shooting. You take a rifle and you shoot at a target, but you look at the flag to see which way the wind is blowing. So you shoot against the wind to try to make sure that by the time your bullet hits the target, the wind would have sufficiently blown it over to where the target is. But I didn't feel she had to do that. She could have just communicated these things. And she could have just said, hey, look, I want you to be a more romantic person. All right, that's something. I can work with that. But I didn't get that. I got, well, I'm not going to go into details. And I really don't want to get on here and complain about exes. But my point is, what I value in a woman is love and respect. I need them both. I can't have one or the other. I've got to have both. I really do feel like they're a package deal. Just like Slim Jims. The Slim Jims that come with the cheese? Yeah, that's the package. Slim Jims by themselves give me acid reflux. But you give me that cheese with it, and I can go all day.
Slim Jims, love and respect. Okay, so I agree with Slim Jims are great. Love and respect. I'm definitely for that. I have to have intellect. I have to have a thinker. Like, I don't need her to make decisions for me, but I do need her to be able to think, because I'm a thinker. My brain's going to keep going. So I'm going to need somebody to be able to talk to and bounce stuff off of, because I'm weird. So I need somebody weird to think like me. Number two, I would say kindness and compassion. Mainly for the fact that I'm kind and compassionate, and I know that if the person with me is not kind and compassionate, I'm gonna get on their last.
Those are good ones. Those are good.
Like, I'm gonna, if they are not the kind, compassionate person, I'm going to really bother somebody. But that is what I value. Those are things that I value in my partner, in my wife.
There's so many
think-
things that I do value that I didn't say. But
Go
I'm
for
out.
it. Take the bite.
I mean, uh, like I can be kind of airheaded sometimes, and I'm not saying I'm a complete idiot. I'm a smart guy, but sometimes there's things that I don't know. Sometimes I don't have a certain perspective, and I can't see it other than the way that I see it. But like Terrence says, his wife is a different person. She has a different opinion, and she'll state that. And now he knows. And so now he knows that I can't just rely on my own opinion. My wife has a certain opinion, and it opens his mind to another perspective. I value that. I would like a woman that can see a perspective that I don't see, because that can help me. Don't let me just walk up and punch some dude in the face. Help me to see that, oh, maybe he's having a bad day. And I can say, hey, man, you good?
Right?
I just someone with a different perspective that can help me to not just be this hokey massive idiot walking around being stupid. You know, I'd also value someone that can help me calm down. Just help me calm down. I go through a lot during the day. I drive around Seattle, and folks are like zombies. Like, they just start walking across the street. Well, dude, the light's red. You can't walk right now. But they go walking anyway, and I have to stop. And if I slam on brakes, then the GPS records that my boss gets it, and when I get back to the yard, he wants to talk to me. Why are you slamming on the brakes? Well, there's a bunch of idiots walking everywhere. You want me to run them over? All right. And I have to deal with that. So when I come home, because I don't have a wife, I just have to blow it off and play video games. But to have a woman there, my wife there, say, oh, I know you had a hard day. Why don't you sit down and eat this meal that I cooked? Just, baby, that's all I need.
So let
plate in front of me, sit down here beside me, and let's eat together, and let's just forget that the world out. I want what Jerry Gergich had. You ever see Parks and Recreation? Jerry Gergich would go to work, and he was just the person that everybody ragged on, that everybody picked on. He was always making mistakes. He was always bumping into things and knocking things over. But when Jerry Gergich was in his house, he was perfect. His daughters were perfect. His wife is Christy Brinkley, supermodel Christy Brinkley. Everything is perfect in his life at home. But when he walks out the door, it's another world. But when he's at home, he's the dude. And nobody can figure out how in the world did he manage to marry a woman that beautiful. That's what I want. I want my Christy Brinkley or at
equivalent.
home. Yeah, equivalent.
You know what? You said something about other things just coming to mind after you get started on the topic. I was like, yeah. Another one that just hit me was femininity. And it sounds weird. Well, I mean, I guess it sounds weird. I'm not trying to go down that rabbit hole of various lifestyles or anything like that. So I'm not trying to offend anybody who's not straight or anything like that. But in my mind, in a wife, I want someone who's feminine. I feel like you can't have two masculine people or two, domineering, two alphas. You know what I mean? And that, I think, would apply whether you're talking any type of relationship. One of them would have to be more of the alpha, and one would be more of the non-alpha, because I don't want to get too caught up in classifications, but you have one who's kind of like,
I don't like them
leader.
terms, but keep going.
No, but I get it.
I know what you're talking about.
There's a balance. Like, I was well, I don't want to say all that, but I get it.
But yeah, I mean, I would appreciate, but not would, I appreciate that, feminine aspect my masculinity, to balance the relationship out. Because if you have too much of one and not enough of the other, there's not it's not harmonious. It's not, to borrow a scripture phrase, it's not equally yoked. So I appreciate that feminine quality.
She should balance you out. I would like my wife to balance me out. You know, I grew up in a family that was dominated by women. Basically, I don't know if they killed off all the men or what the deal was. It's just it was majority women, you know. But that didn't stop me from growing up and becoming a man, because it's written in my DNA, and that's what I'm going to become. But still, in my women, or in one woman that I'm looking for, who I will eventually settle for, and be like, okay, fine, you can invade my space, you know, and I'll relinquish my my loneliness and build a life with you. I would appreciate her bringing that balance to my wanting to punch everything, you know. She and yes, I like feminine women. There's I don't I find it okay. Again, not to make fun of not making fun of the LGBT community at all, but I met this woman. She was a lesbian, and she tried to, you know, she was living out her masculine her, but I looked at her and I had to work with her, you know, not that, you know, she was bad or anything. I was actually friends with her, but it's like she was trying to be masculine, but all I saw was a woman that needed help but didn't want help. But I love it when my women are feminine and realize that I don't even care if she can lift the table. Oh, I'll do it. It's no problem. That kind of does something for me, feeling needed by her. But it just, and I know I'm kind of scrambling here, not scrambling, but I'm all over the place. But my point is, in the woman that I choose to be with, I prefer just a soft woman, you know.
Yeah,
and
I get that. That makes sense.
It bothers me that a man could even hit a woman, because I'm like, she's so soft. Are you serious? Why would you do that? You know, it doesn't make any sense to me. She's just so soft and so delicate. You know, you don't want to break them. You know.
Okay, so I don't know how familiar you guys are with, and this is going to be a turn. Familiar with the Wheel of Fortune, right?
Never heard of it.
Of course you haven't. You know, several decades on air. Forget it. You know, so when you get to the final puzzle, they will give you letters like R, S, T, L, and E, because those are the most common ones.
Right.
I say that because, like, if you were to ask a bunch of guys, what is the equivalent of that, of what they look for in a woman? Like, what does the average guy look for in a woman? And I think y'all kind of hit on it. One is peace. Another is femininity. So some of the major things that not just us, but most men look for, when they get home, they want to have a peaceful, feminine woman. They want to have someone that greets them, that they don't have to bring in whatever almost tried to kill them that day. They can leave it outside the door, but when they come in, they are greeted to a peaceful household. I think that's what most men look for.
Yeah, there's definitely something to be said for being able to come to your place of dwelling and have peace and not feel like you have to be at odds or taking up arms against the person who's there with you. I get enough of that out in the world, you know.
Right.
It's
You can't have trouble everywhere. I'd rather have trouble at work and then come home to a peaceful home. I need that safe space where I can forget that out there exists.
exactly. I need my sanctuary.
That fortress of solitude.
Okay. So, fellas, I think we've been going for a little while. Anybody want to add anything else before we close? Okay. I'll go ahead and pass the chance for the close.
So, as always, you know, we appreciate everybody, both men and women, listening to our conversations. And we always want to hear perspectives. I mentioned it earlier. I'm down for perspectives different from mine. I'm looking to hear something from our listeners that might be insightful or something that we may have missed. And as always, thank y'all for listening. Like, share, subscribe. God bless you. Good night. Deuce.
Peace.